Hey, everybody, and welcome to Economics and You. Today, we are looking at buying and operating a vehicle. So, buying a car. Many factors go into any decision to purchase a car, and you must consider your limited resources of time and money when shopping. Now, many people also must secure a loan to purchase a vehicle and should consider the costs of that loan. Now, I'm going to use the term buying throughout this lesson, but understand that there is also the option of leasing, which is borrowing a car for a set period of time and paying money toward that lease. Now, the advantages of buying are at the end, you own it, it's yours. Disadvantage is your monthly payments are going to be higher when you buy. Leasing, it's going to be a little bit less, but at the end of your term, you don't have a car. It goes back to the dealership. So do keep that in mind. I'm going to use the term buying, but almost everything we talk about today applies to leasing as well. All right, new or used. First decision you want to make is whether you are going to buy a new or a used car. New cars are more expensive, but they also have fewer repair costs in the first several years. You could buy a used car for $3,000 and in the first 4 years have to drop $3,000 into repairs. New cars aren't going to cost you $3,000 in the first 3 years. Now, if buying a used car, be sure to check the vehicle history report. If an accident has ever been reported with that vehicle, it's going to show up in that report, and you're going to want to know what happened. It's usually a good idea also to have a mechanic check out a used car before you buy it. I know that I was in the market for buying a used minivan not long ago. It was only a year old. Shouldn't have had any problems, but we went through the process of having a mechanic check it out, and sure enough, there was a significant issue with the transmission, and that would have cost thousands and thousands of dollars. Have a mechanic check it out if you can. Registration fees. The owner of a vehicle must pay a registration fee in order to operate it. You get a little note. This is how much you owe for your registration. You get a little sticker that goes onto your license plate to show that you are up to date. This fee is paid to your state government, and the fee does vary. It varies based upon the vehicle's age, weight, size, type, value of your car. So the registration is not one fixed number. Now, when buying a car, you could choose to get an extended warranty. This is a guard against having to pay for major repairs early into the purchase of a vehicle. Now, new car warranties do protect cars from major repairs outside of accidents for a few years or a set mileage. So you could buy a new car and it could be 3 years, 30,000 mile warranty. And that would say if any of these systems broke down within 3 years or 30,000 miles, you don't have to pay a thing. But maybe you want something a little bit longer than that. Maybe you want 10 years and 100,000 miles. You could get that, but you have to pay extra for it. These warranties have that extra cost. There are some companies that will offer that extended warranty right with the car. Wonderful. You can also go through third-party vendors for this as well and pay somebody like Geico for an extended warranty. So check into the warranty options that you may have on a vehicle. All right, maintenance and repair. Maintaining a vehicle adds to your costs. Now, there are some things that we should all know about, which are like oil changes and filter changes and minor tune-ups. Those are going to come around at a predictable amount of time, and they're going to add to your costs. So, if you can make the monthly payment, but just barely, remember that you also have to get oil changes. So factor that stuff in. There's no way to guarantee, however, that you're not going to run into a major repair as well. Your transmission could go on a 1-year-old Honda Odyssey. It does happen, and that's going to add a lot. A transmission is a big deal to fix. Now, some models do require more repairs, so check on them before buying. Going back to that Honda Odyssey, the reason why we had to go into a mechanic after 1 year is we had checked and we knew that with this year Honda Odyssey, there were these transmission issues that popped up. We had a mechanic look, and sure enough, the Odyssey we were looking at had that issue. All right, depreciation. Depreciation is the decline in the value of anything over time. Here we're talking about cars. Cars depreciate, and they depreciate a lot. As soon as you drive it off of that new car parking lot, it's worth a lot less now. As cars age and as they're used, they decrease in value. So when you're buying a used car, you look at how old it is and how many miles it's been driven. And both of those are going to drive down the cost of the car. Now, the depreciation of a car can also depend on how hard it's been driven. If it's been in an accident, it depreciates a lot. And how far. Some models, however, depreciate less than others because they're made to be more durable. Up here, we have cars that depreciate most or offer the biggest discount after the first year. So we see the Hyundai Genesis. After 1 year, it's going to lose almost 40% of its value. Okay, that car depreciates very quickly, which means you can buy a used one pretty cheaply, but keep in mind, there's a reason why it depreciates. All of these cars are ones that depreciate fairly quickly. People are not willing to spend a lot of money for a used one. It can be for different reasons. It could be that it's a not very quality car, or it could be a particular market where people, like for this Cadillac, people who are buying a Cadillac want a new Cadillac. They don't want a year-old Cadillac. So the Cadillac drops a lot in its first year. All right, insurance, something else to consider. Lovely insurance. This is a major cost of driving, especially for new drivers and especially if you live in the state of Michigan that has the highest average insurance costs in the country, and not by a little bit, by an awful lot. Drive on Michigan roads and wonder why. That's not fair. It's not just the roads. There are other reasons for this too, but the roads are part of it. We have horrible roads. All right, nearly all states require car insurance to operate. There are only 2 states in the United States, Vermont and Virginia. Might have been New Hampshire and Virginia. Anyway, 2 states that you don't have to have insurance. Everywhere else, you've got to have insurance to drive. Now, insurance varies in its coverage of property damage and bodily injury, so you do want to check into different insurance policies to see what's out there. But some level of insurance is required in every state. A lot goes into determining the cost, but age is a big one, especially for high schoolers who are getting their car for the very first time, because people under the age of 26 are paying the most for insurance, because you guys are the most dangerous drivers on the road. You just are. You don't have as much experience driving. You haven't been through enough situations. Boys, you're driving too fast. Slow down. All these things lead to accidents. Insurance companies know that. You're more expensive to insure, and therefore, insurance is higher. You're talking to somebody who had 3 accidents by the time they were 20, so I was in that boat. But I haven't had one since, so there we go. That's why my insurance now is much lower. All right. Hope you learned something from this. Maybe just about my driving habits, but whatever. And I'll see you next time. Farewell.